Yeah, mic is gonna work now. Okay, let's check it out. Mic is supposed to work now. Okay, that is resolved. Oh yeah. So tonight I might be joined by some group of people, two people or more. I don't know yet, but I just have to depend on if they come on. They will present for a while, but if they don't, then it's just gonna be a short video. But this has to do with being a man. Being a man. See, to be a man is not a day job. It's not something you just wake up in the morning and then you start doing. You don't become a man by, being born and growing up. That is not being a man. To be a man, you have to undergo a lot. You gotta go through redefinition, which means you have to be redefined by fire. You gotta go just like a gold goes. That's a bullion gold goes through refining system. So it's going to be heated at about 3,000 degree Fahrenheit, melted, and then be shaped to what it has to be. The gold will be poured into a mold, and what the mold is made of, like the shape of the mold, is what the shape of the gold is going to take, or is going to become. So let me put it this way: when you have a father, your father is the mold. You see what I'm saying? Or let's put it this way in a better form: your father makes that mold. He makes the mold. Your father has to put you through that refining system. He has to put it through that fire. You got to go through that fire. You have to melt in that fire. Inside that brass cup. Then when your dad takes you, he pours you in the mold that he's made. Because your dad has made that mold. Then he pours you in as a gold. And he watches you turn into the shape of what he wants you to become. But the process of being that man is not something that should be taken for granted. Being a man comes with a whole lot. One of the greatest attributes of being a man is temperament. That's one of the greatest attributes of being a man. But you also first have to be nurtured by your mother. The first 3 years of your life, let's say the first 5 years, but at least the first 3 years of your life. Then your father takes control. After that, then your father shapes you into what he wants you to become. He puts you through that rigorous test of life. It makes you understand that life is not fair. That this is a jungle. And you got to know how to hunt. Hunt by yourself. He puts you through so many tests. Even when your dad has put you through certain tests, nature itself will put you through a test. Your friends will put you through a test, but it's your dad's responsibility to show you how to defend yourself, number one, and how to control your temper, number two, because a man is not supposed to operate in his feelings. Operating in your feelings is the greatest detriment to a man. You have to mind the way you react in public. You can't react. You can't be belligerent. You can't be you can't be reactive. But You are not supposed to be dumb whereby you don't know how to assess risk. You have to possess the skill to assess risk. You have to be proactive in many situations, because guess what? The world, nature will swallow you if you don't know how to be proactive. But it's better to know how to control your temper in order to gauge your response during reaction. To be a man is not easy. It's one of the most complicated things in life. And in being a man, in having temperament, one of the greatest instruments of being a man is to possess judgment. You have to have great judgment. You have to be able to ascertain things and render judgment in a way that it doesn't jeopardize your integrity. So, being a man is not an easy task. It is a complicated task. Even the things that I've mentioned, in today's world, not that many men possess those characteristics anymore. Those characteristics are possessed by not that many men. But in the days of our ancestors, that is one of the those are characteristics and many more that you have to possess in order to sit with the elders. We sit with fellow men, because they must have seen you render judgment on very, very powerful tasks that will shape the course of your family. But they see the way you deliver justice, the way you render judgment, and you were able to be praised among your peers and be allowed to sit among men. You cannot sit among men if you don't possess those characteristics of being a man. You got to know how to be reactive when a woman talks. Women are very emotional. You have to be calculative. How to deal with those emotions. How to bring a woman under your control. You have to know how to do that as a man. That's one of the major characteristics that you have to be taught by your father. Or a man influence in your life if you don't happen to have a father. It is very influential that a man has to know how to conduct himself among other men. It's very, very vital, so you don't become a laughingstock or become the talk of the table. Being a man is a very, very complicated matter. It's strange by itself, and it's something you have to do in order to be respected. Not that many men possess it. I'll tell you that for a fact. Like I said, not that many men possess what it takes to be a man. Not that many men. But then what are you? Where do you fit in this equation? Where do you fit? Where you fit matters a lot. Where you fit in this equation matters a lot. How do you view yourself when you are in the midst of other men matters a great deal. Do you go to other men to sit down with them and ask them questions? Become inquisitive. As a man, one of the first things that I did growing up as a little kid was that I was obtaining knowledge from men around me, not just my father. My father was a great influence in my life. God bless his soul. He was a great influence in my life. That is his picture right there behind me. He was a great influence in my life. As much impact of wisdom that he impacted in me, I also reach out to other men around me. I have tough questions. I see how they act. I know when they mess up. But I also have to subject their character to other men to gauge their behavior, to see if it worth me emulating. Those are things that I try to become inquisitive about, and I was very inquisitive about it. I loved the fact that I was around many men to be the person that I am today. Most of my discussion, the way I talk, the way I act, My conflict resolution come from my understanding of other men and seeing the mistakes that other men made. To be a man is not easy. It's not easy at all. You have to gauge your spending habit. You have to gauge your decision habit. You got to gauge businesses that come around you. You have to understand the way you resolve conflict, marital conflict, relationship between you and other people. You have to do whatever you got to do to be a man of your word. Even when you come short of your words, don't stop friendship for that. Maintain friendship even if you know you've disappointed. If you don't fulfill what the promises that you've made, but maintain friendship. Because when you run away from people, when you don't pick up calls, when you don't maintain the relationship that was when the issue become. A man is a great deal. Apologize. Be ready to apologize. It's very, very good to apologize, but I prefer actions than apology. That's my personal opinion. Because you can apologize every single time and keep repeating the same mistakes. But actions is what you need instead of apology. Because when you take the action to resolve conflict, it makes you more of a man than somebody that other men don't want to be around. The world needs us as men. Things cannot be built without men. Things cannot prosper without men. Things cannot be in place without men. Cities cannot function without men. Basic infrastructures cannot be built without men. Businesses will not flourish without men. In every sphere of life that has nothing to do with day-to-day activity of children, men are needed. Even when men step into those roles that men don't need, they bring sanity. They bring sanity. Because men are not made to operate in feelings. The only thing that God has put into a man that separates a man from female species is conflict resolution. Being able to assess things and being able to solve problems. Find solution to the situation. When a woman approaches a man and tells him something about what she's going through, automatically a man snap into his default ways of finding solution to the problem. Because for her to speak, there is a problem. Right at the moment she's opening her mouth to say something, the man is sick, is in search of solution. He's instantaneously calculating on how to find solution to the problem. That is what a man does. That's one of the great characteristics of a man. Being able to find solution to a problem. So, like I said, it's not easy to be a man. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a man. It's not easy at all to be a man. A man is a very, very vital species that is needed to provide security, to provide shelter. Those are the two most powerful things that a man is needed for by his family. Then a man is needed to build infrastructure by society. A man is needed to defend the dignity of his nation. Those are characteristics that men also are needed for by society. A man is needed for a lot by society. A man is needed to bring peace, to bring law enforcement, to bring order, to put in place whatever law is existing in that society, to enforce it. A man is needed for that. A man is also needed to be able to put other men in control. Men put men in control. Men put men in checks. Men bring about balances. Men do that with any means necessary, both in strength and in external use of force. Men do that. Men check men when necessary in order to bring sanity to the society. Men go to war to resolve conflict or settle conflict through the means of wars when necessary or when the need for. Men invade other nations and take over nations. Men conquer and destroy civilization of other countries and install their own civilization. Men do that. Men start wars and men end wars. It's not easy to be a man. Being a man is very, very vital. It's not something that can be taken for granted. But one of the things that men also do is that when the dust is settled, men rebuild. The discussion tonight is about what can men do to bring about sanity in the society that is going chaotic. Today, some men are being raised confused who they are because there was no man figure to be able to lead them. Even in places where there was a man figure, but the men that were there may have not operated with authority. A man needs to have authority. A man needs to be in his house and say what the house has to be, and the house has to function the way he wants it. And if you disagree, you can leave his house. Because when things go wrong, a man is the only one that is held responsible when things go wrong. So if it's your responsibility to provide security in that house, it's also your responsibility to lay down the rules with which the house operates. There has to be law and order in the street and at home, and men have to provide those. The world is a very powerful place. Security is always tested. Brevity is always tested. The integrity of your borders always tested. The boundaries of your laws always tested. Every second. The authority that you have in your house always tested every second. But it's your sole responsibility as a man to enforce. Being a man is not an easy job. It's a job you have to do. You must do it, and you have to do it. When you run away from your responsibility as a man, you failed yourself, you failed society, and you failed everybody in your household. But that doesn't mean that men are not chased out of their own house. In some society, it happens, especially in the West. In the West, men are emasculated. Men are chased out of their responsibility. Men are chased out of their house. Yes, we know that. It happens. Men are actually toothless and toolless. They are denied the right to be able to cut the course or cut the course of their family. No, men are totally denied of that. It's a shame. It's a shame. But what we say is this. The society is paying the price in the West of emasculated men, and it's going to keep paying the price of emasculated men. Is it going to stop anytime soon? I have no idea. But what I'm trying to say is this. A man has to be a man. Let a man be a man. And being a man is not a day job. I just want to release this short video because I know this is a Grammy Award night and most of the people are watching it. But this is a short video that I want to release and I don't want it to escape my memory. But I'm going to expand more on this conversation whenever the panels are done with their Oscar. If it's tonight that they're done and want to come on board, we'll make it happen. But other than that, over the week, we're going to make this happen. We're going to expand a lot because I want to find out from the panel, what do they think that men can do better? Or what do they think of, based on their opinion, what do they think is hindering men from being men? And what can we do to resolve this? Because there are a lot of YouTube channels out there that are dealing with this issue of men being emasculinated in societies, especially in the West. And in the West right now, there is a huge outcry by men of stopping these things from going on. We are going to expand greatly on these conversations, on this topic, and discuss far in depth about it. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys soon, and I'm looking forward to you guys hearing from me and the panels. Good night, guys, and remain blessed, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.